This episode of the Play the Game podcast is brought to you by LoneWolfPaintball.com. And when it comes to paintball, Lone Wolf is the name you can trust. They have been in the game since the very beginning as Michigan's premier field and supplier since 1987, and Lone Wolf has built a legacy of excellence, passion, and service that runs deep in the game. From their top-tier customer service to same-day shipping on all orders, Lone Wolf makes sure that you are locked and loaded with your new gear fast. No waiting around, no hassle, just the best brands in paintball delivered straight to your door. They've got it all. Markers, loaders, tanks, apparel, accessories, and more from all of your favorite brands. And whether you're just getting started in the game or gearing up for your next big event, LoneWolfPaintball.com has everything you need. Be sure to check out their YouTube channel at Lone Wolf Paintball and follow them on Instagram at LoneWolfPB to stay up to date on all the latest gear, exclusive sales, and community content. At Play the Game Podcast, we are incredibly grateful for Lone Wolf's continued support, and we cannot wait for you to become a part of their growing community. Head on over to LoneWolfPaintball.com right now and gear up with the best in the game. PTG family, thank you so much for being here. Are you interested in getting your brand in front of the Play the Game community? We are opening up advertising opportunities on the Play the Game podcast, and if you've got a company, a product, or a brand you want to promote to our passionate and growing community, this is your chance. Please send us over a message on Instagram at Play the Game Podcast to learn how we can collaborate and help you grow your business through the PTG platform. Once again, head over to Instagram, send us a message at Play the Game Podcast, and we look forward to connecting and helping you build something truly amazing together.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This episode is one of the better ones in a while. We really dove into the nitty-gritty and all of the exciting stuff that Major League Paintball is doing to get paintball recognized by the masses. We have Brett and Mike, the executive producers of Major League Paintball Plus, and two of the names that are really doing the most for the sport right now from a media standpoint. They have been phenomenal, and we have some pretty cool stuff to show you guys. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcello Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcello Margot was on fire.
What is going on, everybody? We hope you're doing amazing out there. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of PTG. This is episode number 315. And today on the show, we are sitting down with two absolute powerhouses from the world of sports entertainment, Brett Annese and Mike Pacicco from Fight Inc. and their work behind the scenes of UFC to now stepping into the world of Major League Paintball. We are super excited to have them as executive producers of all the content and media that you see coming out from MLPB. These guys know what it takes to turn competition into a show, and they got what the world wants to watch. So we're excited to have them on board and have them on the show. How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
Boys, what's up?
Yo.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Hearing you say that, though, it's really cool. I've been playing paintball since I was a kid. And
Bro.
to be in this position, talking to you guys,
man.
it's a cool moment.
The honor is ours, really, to have you guys on board, helping us spearhead all this content. And we have some really exciting news to share with everybody on the show with some very entertaining content coming out. I think this week we're dropping it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 4th.
Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 Eastern.
And what is it exactly? What can the world be expecting? What do we got?
You want me to jump in and take that, Brett?
Tease it, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's another iteration of Road to a Championship, which is a series that Major League Paintball was already doing, right? They've had some great versions of that show drop. So basically, just came in and helped them elevate a series that they were already doing really well. This one's a look back at the previous event, specifically the finals between Impact and X Factor. And it gives you a little bit of a deeper dive into the people involved, right? So typically the series has been very paintball heavy and a great product for the paintball fan. The strategy is to kind of keep that essence of it, but lean more into the storytelling that we've all kind of talked about for years that paintball needs, right? So this is really the first step into making that kind of transition, maintaining like all the great paintball streaming and content that the league already does really well, but over the course of time, starting to slowly infuse that storytelling element, so that somebody who doesn't already love paintball, like all of us, can watch this film, and by the end of it, be really, invested in rooting for or against the people competing in the finals. So
Love that.
some cool stuff in there. On the Impact and the X Factor side, leaning into telling the deeper stories of like the Yakimek family, and on the X Factor side, really introducing you in a meaningful way to Billy Bernaccia. And yeah, I'm excited for everyone to check it out.
Dude, we already saw it, me and March, and it's badass. And before we dive into that, where are you guys reporting from? Where are you at over here, Brett? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm currently was away with my family in Las Vegas, so I'm coming at you from a hotel room right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, you made the you made it work for us. Thank you. I know you're like, oh, can we do Tuesday? I'm like, man, it's tough. It's bumping right up against when I'm leaving to go out to Florida. So we appreciate you finding a way to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I was happy to make this work with you guys. But yeah, I'm on the West Coast, and Mike, you're East Coast.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Stand up.
Chris here. He's pretty excited to hear that. Yeah, guys, honestly, watching it, I didn't watch all, it's like 47, 48 minutes. I didn't watch all of it. I skipped around a little bit. So we got it late last night, but it really did look incredible. It's exactly what we have been talking about for a long time, the importance of telling the stories. If you don't understand paintball, or you're not familiar with the game, you don't really care to just listen to interviews about a match, even though like that's what we did for so long, is we would just interview players about, certain games in a tournament, maybe their preparation, that kind of stuff. And if you're not already a paintball fan, it's hard to really buy in. But when you're getting the lifestyle stuff, like watching the Yakimek part, almost anybody can relate to that. Wow, look at this. How cool is this? This is a father and his sons. And, shout out to Joe, for a long time, his wife. It is a family outing. Like, look at how cool this is, that these father and son can play this game together. They go to these events together. They've won world championships together. That's a relatable thing. It makes you want to root for them. Same thing with Billy Bernaccia and, having his son at the event, it makes you like care about the person, which makes you want to watch and root for or against. And it's nice to see, you guys actually taking the reins and doing that, I think it's huge. I think it's really important for the sport.
Yeah, and context of the games as well, right? So there's that storytelling element, but also when you guys played each other in Texas, right? It's not just two of the top teams going at it. There's different storytelling elements to it. These are former teammates going at it.
Yeah,
there's some heated rivalry element of it, right? So you see guys like yelling at each other in between points. You really know why, right? I think that's another thing that's important, right? If these two teams are playing hard against each other, and it's really heated match, kind of explaining what got us there is important.
Sure.
Totally. Yeah, you guys crushed it. And having the drama, and we were kind of talking about this before the show, but we have to make sure that paintball is highly entertaining and it captivates people when they watch it. And there's a storyline, and there's, drama and context, and something that grabs the viewer and just rips them in. And like, I can't stop watching this. These guys are going crazy. They're shooting each other with paintballs. It's madness. These are the best players in the world. It has to really be fully captivating. And what you guys encapsulated with this mini series is starting to do that. And we've had tastes of this, but to know that through the pipeline, we're about to get a heavy dose of this kind of stuff is really going to be a game changer for our sport. And hats off to you guys for all the hard work, the whole team behind the scenes, everybody that works hard on these things. I mean, it's spectacular.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate the shout out, and it's worth doing too. There's a lot of people that help put this together, particularly Arthur from the Go Sports side, who's a wonderful editor, has been working on this. He pretty much championed this show.
There we go.
Shout out to Arthur. He took a lot of late calls on this one to stay up on the West Coast time for me.
Arthur's the man, dude.
And he shot the whole sequence with Billy out in Connecticut, and obviously a lot of the gameplay footage that you see live is stuff Arthur shoots.
Let's go, Arthur.
I think people don't even realize why they love certain sports or why they fall in love with watching a game or a team or a player. I think if you ask them, they'll give an answer, and it's actually probably often not the reality of it. Like a small example that I could think of off the top of my head. I mean, if you're watching an NFL game and, Jamar Chase is going up against Patrick Surtain, best, cornerback in the league, and he makes a big catch, and then he showboats a little bit in his face, like in real time, you might just think, oh, it's a spectacular catch, but actually it's sometimes leading up to these maybe I should have made the analogy in UFC. It's a little more profound, but sometimes leading up to these, you have interviews, and Patrick Surtain's sitting there talking all week about how he's going to shut Jamar Chase down. Jamar Chase isn't going to record a single catch. Jamar Chase is now also in interviews like, I don't even worry about him, so it's like not a thing. And you're listening to this stuff, and now you're invested kind of subconsciously. And then the game happens, they're playing, they're lined up against each other, and Jamar Chase goes up, makes a big catch in Patrick Surtain's face, has some sort of showboating. And like, you don't even realize that you have this built up investment into this. And now there's like an emotional reaction to what just happened because of the storyline. And you don't even realize that that's why you're so intrigued by it. But it is why you're so intrigued by it. It is the story behind it. And now there's like a chemical release that's happening as you're watching the game that you're like, yes, I've been rude. I wanted Jamar Chase to do this because I didn't appreciate how, Patrick Surtain was talking. I didn't think it was classy or whatever. Or maybe you're rooting for Surtain, and either way, it's like an emotional response to sports and to moments in sports. And I think that only happens from storytelling. It doesn't happen just from like a spectacular catch. It's not just that alone. It's not just the act. It's really not. Like it really is the emotional investment in the entire story.
No, for sure. I mean, you just said two of the best players in the world right there in football, right? And that also helps too. Like the high level skill, when there's that added element, it definitely brings the eyeballs to, like you go out, if you're watching that game, you're only focused on those two guys sometimes, which we have the luxury too of in paintball, which I'm sure you guys noticed, and we'll share a scene shortly, I believe. From that clip from Damage versus Impact, but that's you have the 4 high profile players on that snake side, like the whole match, right? I know where there's some I don't know if it's beef or just like some tension perhaps between you guys, former teammates and also like competitors for years at the high level, or highest level rather. And I think that stuff, like it really came out strong, and how Mike put this together. I obviously I'm producing on this. Mike took the reins as the director on this program, so a lot of the creative decision making was from him, and I think did a tremendous job, particularly in that part what you're talking about, Marcello, of building up like the hype around a match. Because I feel like if Impact plays Damage again, that's must watch television right there
for sure.
That's a huge part of the storytelling. Is not just the people and who they are behind the scenes, but once you get into the field of battle, like and Maddie is always telling the story kind of verbally from the booth to kind of give you that context, which is great. But if you can elevate it with visual, like these are former teammates, right? And the separation wasn't so cordial, and now they're going to go out there and they're going to play harder than they might otherwise, right? Like in the UFC, right? When Colby Covington like makes a joke about Leon Edwards' father and seeing him in hell, his dad got murdered when he was a kid. That's just like so vicious and terrible. And now you know what Leon's fighting for in that fight. That's an extreme example, right? But like you know that they're going to go in there and they're going to probably fight harder than they would otherwise. But that context makes it a lot more entertaining, doesn't it? Right? As a viewer,
absolutely.
Probably a lot of people are probably rooting against Colby Covington now for saying that, and people who want to tune in to see Colby get beat up for saying such a nasty thing. That's all part of this as well. So it's storytelling, but also the drama of the sport. You got to provide context for
that's right.
for what they're fighting for.
I think I told you guys this story, and again, before we went live, I was like, I thought we did an episode before, but no, we've just been on some Zoom calls before you guys did formally, come on board with Major League Paintball. But I remember the Betch Correa Ronda Rousey fight. It was the first, women's fight that I actually watched. I remember paying like $99 or something for that fight. But the only reason that I cared to watch it was because I wanted to see Betch Correa get her ass beat, because she was just such a nasty shit talker, like I just didn't like. I mean, I was super engaged, I the whole buildup leading up to the fight, I was like, I want Betch Correia to get her ass beat so badly.
That's a great example. So when they faced off at the weigh-ins, so Ronda Rousey was very open about just like her troubles and like life and how, I can't remember the exact context, but she was crying about something that she was speaking to, and Betch Correia in the face-off said, "Don't cry, Ronda, like don't cry." And then Ronda in the fight knocks her out and then turns around and says, "Don't cry."
Incredible, dude.
To her unconscious body. And just like, if you have all that context, you're just like, oh my God, Ronda's amazing.
It's like 15 years later, I literally just got the chills. No joke. But like I remember I was, I just didn't care to watch women fight in UFC at the time. I just didn't. There were no storylines that I cared about. And that fight made me care about women fighting in the UFC. And then I became a huge Ronda Rousey fan.
Because of the context.
Because of the context. And if it weren't for the show leading up to it, I probably wouldn't have watched that fight. Maybe never would have become a fan of, Ronda Rousey. And that is the stuff that is so imperative to our sport, 100%. I do also want to add the professionalism and the aesthetic of what you guys have done. I think it's so important. Again, this is one of those things that consumers, I don't think they realize. They just, their intuition kind of tells them like, this is really badass or it's not. And they might not be able to actually, process what it is that's clicking for them or what's not clicking for them. But I kind of equate it to like a song before it's been produced or mastered, right? And I think that's what we were putting out for a long time. It was like a lot of really good stuff, but it just hadn't been mastered yet. It hadn't been actually produced. And now all this stuff looks really polished. It looks really good. And when you're watching like even this, Road to a Championship, it looks just like some of these really, well done documentaries on Netflix around, whether it's golf or any of these other sports like the quarterback series. It looks so good. It looks so professional. And those little things, man, it's just going to go a long way. It really does. Because as a viewer, you look at it and it immediately is already on a pedestal because it's so well done, and your subconscious tells you these things. It really does, whether we realize it or not. This is the difference in like, having content that really catches on and makes people feel things. And I think if we keep moving in that direction, man, it's we have an amazing game. We have an amazing sport. We have a lot of great characters. We have a lot of, really important storylines. And, if we do a good job and continue to do a good job of showcasing that, I think people are going to care.
Oh, for sure. And sorry, it looks like you lost Mike for a sec here. Not sure.
We did. Yeah.
But
we got him.
I don't know what happened there.
No, we got you.
No, I was gonna say that just to add to that point, Marcello, like obviously that's our community recognizing that is, I think, a big step. But that particular element, like the professionalism around our sport and the marketability, something we talked with Zizek about when we did his podcast last month, like having paintball be something where it's recognized and taken seriously around bigger entities that we want to get out to. I think that's a valuable element of having your professional sport being recognized as like, oh, this is like they take their story seriously, they take their matches seriously. These players take their game seriously. There's high level competition, like all that stuff adds up, and we're excited that I've finally been able to, I guess, tap into some of that with the access that we've had, which both of you guys have been. Just shout out to both of you. Like throughout this process, the past, I think, year and a half, we've been really kind of jumping into it full steam. Both of you have been very welcoming and helpful and supportive of what we've been trying to do, giving us contacts to people, pointing us in the right direction on who to ask questions to. And it's really gotten us to this point. So you guys are partly responsible as well.
That's what it's all about. It's all a family. We're all family here. We're all fighting the good fight for this sport that we all love. And kind of to dive into, you guys also competed and played and love the game. So you know exactly what we're going through and have been able to create such a spectacular life in your own regard with the field of work that you guys have mastered. So the honor is truly all ours. And just to kind of bring it back full circle, it's all about these stories, man, and these stories that you guys are telling. I mean, can you imagine the Rainey Stanzak episode, and then the Colt Lacau talking about his faith in God and how it's powered him and his family, and Rainey gambling all night and then going and showing up at the paintball field and having some fun. Like we have so many amazing characters. We really do. We have so many outstanding characters in the game that are going to, like we were talking about earlier, they're going to just rip people in and it's going to captivate them. And they're going to be like, wow, I'm a paintball fan. I resonate with this player or this player. And that's what captivates me in pro sports. I don't watch sports just to watch a team. I'm focused on a player. I'm always watching a certain player, whether it's European football. I've been watching a lot of soccer, obviously NFL, NBA, UFC. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm invested in these entities, in these personalities, in these people that inspire me to be better. I'm able to get derivatives of what they do and apply that to my process. So, and I know there's millions and millions of people out there that do the same thing. So to have that starting to work its way into paintball is spectacular. You guys are going to absolutely love this new docuseries that they're doing. It's going to be highlighting players. We're excited to see it all. And let's talk about the UFC for a minute, because that is pretty big that you guys were a part of that world, and you did the Fight Inc. show, which was wildly successful. So how has that helped you guys, and in what regards are you using all that, that time and experience to motivate you into new frontiers with Major League Paintball?
Yeah, I mean, so I worked on and off for the UFC for like 12 years, and it was good to kind of, obviously, like it was like trial by fire, get a lot of good production experience, but having to get content out like constantly, and then like fights get canceled and you have to change stuff. So I always say it's like the most challenging but rewarding experience I ever had. And I did was show running UFC Countdown for a number of years, and all the content that the UFC does, and they've talked about this at length too. It's what we've talked about here is getting the stories out there, because the UFC for a long time they couldn't even get a sponsorship. They had to buy time on TV. It was human cockfighting, and politicians wanted to ban it, and trying to get
sounds
people
like paintball.
Yeah, right. So I mean, they really just leaned heavily into storytelling, because they went into it and they started to find that these guys were college educated, and Chuck Liddell went to Cal Poly and got an engineering like education, and they're well spoken, they have families, all this stuff. So if we can lean into that, maybe people it'll resonate with them, and they'll be interested in watching whatever it is they do, whether it's a cage fight or playing paintball. So just did a lot of that. I always tell people, like, my time with the UFC didn't really have much of anything at all to do with live mixed martial arts. It was just like doc and storytelling. So, I think that's something that the UFC does incredibly well. And other sports do it too, right? And Hard Knocks, you get to peel the curtain on the lives of NFL players and rookies who are struggling to make the team, and you can root for them. But the UFC, I think, has really leaned into it well. And in Fight Inc., that was kind of like their, what could have been kind of like a Formula One Drive to Survive.
Oh, no, we lost Mike again.
What a line to end on there.
Yeah, what a line. It's funny because you're the one that's, at a hotel.
Yeah, the hotel Wi-Fi is
it's I don't know why it's doing that. I'll try to get my answer.
It's okay. No, it's a cliffhanger. You leave the people, they're waiting.
Just to finish that thought, though, because like Formula One Drive to Survive had like a really pronounced effect for Formula One, right? Where they made like a big doc, and then everybody was like, oh, I guess I got to watch Formula One now. So you see that with a ton of sports, like Breakpoint, with tennis, and Full Swing with golf, and like the list goes on with all of those films that Box to Box has done now. But Fight Inc. was kind of a way for the UFC to kind of get their behind the scenes and their story of their business out to the world. And, that was really fun to work on with Brett over the course of 2023. It was also very challenging and rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, that was a long one. And just to go back in time, because I don't think Mike will tell the story from this perspective, but his involvement in UFC was like how he got involved was interesting. And so I've known Mike, went to college together, Elon University. And when we all moved out to LA together, and Mike used to host people at his apartment to watch the fights, because he was obsessed with UFC. He knew every fighter. He knew their weight class, who they lost to last time. He'd be standing up next to the TV, like throwing kicks and stuff. And he found an opportunity to work as an assistant editor at UFC or at like one of their vendors, right? And just because of his obsession with everything, he was just a source of information for everybody that was making things happen. And, you know, diligently worked at that and rose to become showrunner of their premier storytelling mechanism and promotional mechanism over the course of those 10, 12 years he was there. So I think like a lot of it obviously is his work ethic and passion for it, but like, you know, just like he just loved the sport.
Yeah.
Right. And we kind of are taking a similar approach here. Like I'm a filmmaker first and foremost. That was, you know, I moved out to Los Angeles to work in movies, right, to make feature films, and had an interesting interaction with Patrick Sporer, the director of Monkey with a Gun show, like all the documentaries like Serial Killers and
Legend
Sunday Drivers, who Tyler starred in back in the day. And I got a chance to meet him, and as I was talking to him, was like, my favorite film that I showed my friends when I was a kid was Heroes for a Day, the excessive story.
Oh yeah.
And that was one of the reasons I wanted to become a filmmaker. Right. And I'm standing there talking to him. I was like, wow, this is crazy. You're the reason I'm standing here right now, Patrick. Like, you know, like this story that you told about these guys that like I, as a 16-year-old kid, when they're waking up in Amsterdam, they're like, oh, we got to go back to normal life now. Like, you know, I felt that feeling like when I had to wake up and go to school, you know, it's different. Like than being hungover on a European Millennium Series trip. But yeah, just like we're just obsessed with paintball, right?
Yeah.
And we're taking the same approach that Mike took when he started with UFC in terms of just using that passion to fuel the content and the work that we're trying to put out here with our experience that we've had through various documentaries in the past 15 years. We've been doing this.
Brett, real quick, with Heroes for a Day, do you remember a scene that stands out to you that really made you connect or feel emotionally invested to one of the players? Is there a specific scene?
Absolutely. There's two in particular.
For sure. But you go first.
I have one. There's a scene where it's kind of I think it's in Millennium. I forget the exact location, but Nicky Cuba wasn't having a good tournament, and Telford had to go up and be like, "You're sitting this match." And it was like, you know, in paintball, it's not really like there's no owner, or there's no order of events. It was just like these guys are all on the same team together. And I remember he told him, and he's awesome. And like he gets up, and it's like slow music, like guitar music, like it's really sad. And like he sees the team succeed with his backup. And then the next day, he's like, "I'm starting you. You're playing. You're gonna kick some ass." I forget the exact line. And then he puts it down, and they win the tournament. And the podium shot is them with Nicky in focus, overcoming the adversity to win despite being benched. I love that stuff, man. Overcoming adversity and the emotional, you know, and this is also after an hour of seeing Nicky, you know, go through ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, that one sticks to me really well. But yeah, do you have another scene you liked, Mike?
I love, the one with Nicky Vegas moving out of his apartment when you can get all this for $800 a month, kids, and it's just like this really not nice place. And he's just like, you see this guy who he's a bouncer on the side trying to chase this paintball dream, but like outside of paintball, he has like bills and like a life and a job, and just seeing him struggle to navigate that, I thought was really cool. It made me like root for Nicky as the show kind of progressed, you know. And then he's they're at some 10-man tournament, like reffing. So I think it was, you know, maybe try to get some money. And I thought that was cool to kind of see that these pro paintball players that I was putting on a pedestal when I was that age, watching that, to kind of see that they were, you know, doing whatever they had to do to chase this dream was cool.
There's so many stories like that in paintball. And actually, I asked this question because Matty Marshall tells this story quite frequently to, you know, when he's talking about storytelling. But the Nicky Cuba part, I think a lot of people really resonated with Nicky Cuba's story there. And there was a clip that you're talking about, I think, Brett, where Nicky kind of breaks down crying as well and all that. Like he's teared up, and he was begging them not to put that in there. He was begging, you know, Patrick and them not to, you know, have the clip of him being at an emotional low. And, you know, they were like, Nikki, look, this is going to make you a hero. Like, this is such an important part of the piece. This is what people are going to connect to, like, to be able to see that their heroes have these downfalls as well, and this adversity to overcome. So that was kind of why I asked the question. And so, it's, you know, again, to all the players, like, sometimes the stuff might not be in your favor, but those are the times that people connect with as well. Like, not everything just goes perfect for people, you know, on a day-to-day basis. Every single human has tons of adversity, and really that's what they want to connect with, because it's relatable, and to watch somebody that they look up to overcome these things is even more powerful, you know, and it does create for a better story.
Oh, certainly.
100%.
That scene definitely resonates. The intro, where they're all in the hotel, going through their ups and downs. And I think that's a big step that the paintball community could make, right? Is having more openness to that stuff. I mean, I played tournament paintball for, over a decade. And there's definitely like, there's like a macho attitude, like when you're all in the community together. It's like, I don't know necessarily what it's from, but I guess it's such a small community. Everyone tries to stay, at least in the divisional level, like you got to stay like in a certain temperament, right, to get the respect of people around you. But I think openness to stuff like that, like Nikki had, is very valuable, because you guys are all humans at the end of the day, and there's some interesting stuff I think that's out there. I mean, we talked to so many of the pros at this point, and I feel like there's so much I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, like about you, that we keep hearing. And it's like, people need to know this stuff. Like,
agreed.
Dr. Seabaugh from Paintball Fit. I
Totally.
mean, the list goes on. That's another thing. Like, cause we stepped away from the sport for a little bit. And then like when I kind of came back and we were looking at the content, first of all, like tons of sick paintball content everywhere, like on Instagram. And like, I was like, wow, if you're a paintball fan, this is awesome. But then looking into the stories that we want to uncover that we didn't see as much of, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Just got to start getting them out, in like a visually compelling way. Yeah.
And it's all about, as the athletes as well, being open-minded to maybe, you have this macho attitude or whatever, but think bigger, think about the entirety of the sport. Think about us as an entity, and really be you, but understand that we also need to be an entertaining show if people are going to watch it too. We have to captivate people. So being mindful of that and making sure that we're putting out the best product possible for the people is going to help us have a great show for people to get invested in, and just help Mike and Brett. If they ask for something, help them curate this thing. They're trying to help us, so let's all help them as well.
Give us some tears. We had a shout out to Billy Bernaccia. He softened up for us real hard on this, like just on like access to his life, and
it was outstanding, dude.
With his family, we're just we're just in his home, like showing some who he truly is, and that's a portion of the Road to a Championship doc that we have. Big shout out to Billy. I mean, he has one of the probably one of the most kill count leaders like in the history of the game, right? Like guys in prime position, front snake every point.
So cool watching these guys that I watched when I played. Like Brett kept with the sport, but I kind of fizzled away and life took over in like 2006-07. And I was watching like you, Tyler, and like Billy, you know, and obviously like Ryan, Yosh, like the Dynasty guys who are all still doing it. I think you had like just joined Ironman or something, Marcello.
Yeah.
But like to see all these like legends like still doing it is really cool, because that's a good story too. Like, how long can they do this?
Totally. I mean, to see Billy be the number one on the snake side, and not like I mean, he's a missile every single time for over 20 years is like one of the most impressive things I think in the sport. I got a lot of love and respect for Billy Bernaccia, that's for sure. He is just such a consistent weapon, and been that for X Factor for a long time. Even watching his piece, like, it made me more of a fan. And I know Billy pretty well. I've known him for 20 years. I've done a lot of like, clinics, and, been at different events with him. And even this like kind of opened the door to his life in a way that I haven't seen. And it made me a little bit more of a fan. Again, even like the Yakamax part, like I just was like, man, this is really cool. It really is. So yeah, look, again, this is what I think Tyler and myself, like when we first started talking over a year ago, whenever that was, we're like, these are the guys for sure. This is what we need, because they obviously have done this. They understand the vision. They understand the importance. Please, whatever can happen to make this happen, please, Major League Paintball, please get these guys on board.
And a huge credit to Tom and Bart for bringing us on to help with some of this stuff. I mean, they definitely see the vision and the importance of the storytelling element to it. So awesome working with them on this as well.
Yeah, I got a quick question from the Discord, because it kind of fits where we're at in the conversation, but it's from Greeny. Shout out to James Green. He will be competing with Lucky 15s over here at the World Cup. He's been with Aftermath for most of the season, but will be with Lucky's at World Cup. He wants to know, what's more important for us to work on right now? The product, which would be like the format, the rules, etc., or the show around the product? And depending on your answer, are you currently working on this?
Great question. And I think we met Greedy at one of the events. I forget which one. I think it was Atlantic City or maybe Tampa. I think for right now, what we're working on is the product itself, and growing that, right? Obviously, we're talking at the beginning of this, like it's, I don't know, it's felt like it's been stagnant for a little while, and we think elevating the product that we have, it makes it more sellable, so that we can elevate the things around it.
Sorry, Brett, to clarify, because I think the essence of his question is more, do you think what we need to work on, and when he says product, he means like the actual gameplay? Like, do we need to change to like 4-on-4 or 7-on-7, or is it more the show around the product? I think that's the essence of his question.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that. So you're saying like the format of NXL,
right?
Do we need to work on that? I mean, that's a question that's pretty challenging to answer, honestly. Like, because I love X Ball, but I know it's hard to follow for the general public. And we had an experience working with ESPN this past year on a 3-man tournament, and all year, Major League Paintball has put out a 3v3 event. And so I think the 3-man offers an interesting look into that, right? Like a product that's more, or that's smaller and easier to consume. You can highlight players more. My opinion is not everybody else's. I think a smaller, and when there's less people to focus on, it's easier for us, right? If it's, if it's 10-man, we have 10 people on each team. We got to tell 10 stories. It's just, you only get so much time, I guess. So me personally, I think we should still focus on what's around the NXL right now, because we have this elevated platform where the best players in the world are still competing. And I guess that's what I was saying earlier. That's what we're working on now, is elevating what's around the current format. Just because it's all there right now, right? Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, the game itself has been a constant work in progress, hasn't it? Right? Like you're always looking at ways to fine tune it. As far as like what Brett and I are doing right now, and hopefully going forward to a certain extent, is the stuff around it, right? Like, I mean, if we come in and we try to change paintball, even change like what like the Go Sports team is already doing well and really dialed in on the stream. I mean, you can't just come in and rip all that up and redo it, right? On short notice. What we can do is try to elevate some of the other elements of the product and the storytelling, while everyone else tries to figure out how to make the game the best it can be. But again, like even since I was playing and the NXL became a thing for the first time, what's this? Is this going to be the next big thing? Some people say yes, some people say no, and we've been tweaking it ever since. Like what the perfect version of this is I guess still remains to be seen, and we should always be talking about it. But as far as our focus, let's get people drawn to and attracted to the people involved. And then once they're here, they can look at the game and stick around, hopefully. Because the game too, like my last thought on this is it's pretty awesome. I mean, if you can always fine tune it, but if you go to a live NXL event and sit in those stands of that VIP, that is like premium entertainment. That is an awesome sports entertainment property. Come out to an event and watch these games, and you can hear everyone talking shit to each other. And someone gets bunkers, like balls are flying everywhere. It is so awesome, especially World Cup, which is like packed stands. So that
World
I think
Cup's the best.
Everybody wants to tweak the game, and I think you should always be trying to improve it. But coming to events over the past year and a half that Brett and I have been doing, I've been like blown away by how awesome it is.
We
is.
have what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our game is spectacular. Obviously, it's why we love it. It's why we play it. I also agree. You can always be looking for like little details to fine tune. I just throw, the caution out there that we've spent 20 years kind of making these small refinements each year, each season to make the gameplay what it is today. So to completely throw stuff out the window to try these new formats just to appease like, the Ocho, I'm like, let's be a little careful with what we do here, because I believe so wholeheartedly that the storytelling around what we already have is what's going to get us to the next step. We don't need to, throw everything out and start over. I think we have an amazing format. Obviously, we can always be implementing these, small little rule changes, or maybe, adding bunker, whatever it is to make it a little bit better, but to completely throw out like the way the game is played, I don't think is what is going to get us to the next level. At the end of the day, sports are funny. Like if you actually think about it, why do you watch people play football? And how do any of the rules make sense? When you actually break it down, it's a game, and it's all kind of funny. Again, it's the storylines and, the spectacular skill that you can highlight within certain sports. These are the things that capture people. Right. And we have all that in paintball. We have amazing athletes. We have insane shots, slow motion shots of, like that one ball, Tyler, you on meter like that. These types of shots are what will captivate people, paired with the storytelling and, the personalities. And that's the stuff, in my opinion, that we just really need to lean into. So, yeah.
Speaking of those highlight plays, that's another product we're putting out this week. We've been trying to, sort through. There's so many plays that happen throughout the course of a tournament. We have a top 10 plays list from Dallas.
Nice.
That excited to share with everybody. Most likely end of this week, finishing sorting out which is the top play.
Awesome.
That's badass.
Don't they already have a top play decided?
So
they have like a move of the event.
Yeah, there's a move of the event. So Maddie helps us decide that. But this time, for this particular version of it, we're going to have the one move, but we're going to feature 10 total moves. And Maddie helps us decide. Obviously, it's his the sponsor. I forget the name. I'm sorry, Maddie. The sponsor that it's like a law firm, I believe.
Pate Smith.
Yes,
Law.
exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, who give us the award for move of the tournament. So all the ones that when Maddie calls them out on the broadcast, we pulled those aside, and we found a couple. Nice. We dug up a couple other ones. Might be one of you, Marcello, in there making a clutch point happen. But we excited to share some. Like that's another element. Obviously, the storytelling stuff that we've been doing with the Road to a Championship is vital. But there's some other exciting products. I think we have just sitting on hard drives that are, people would love to consume, and putting the matches out there, we think is valuable. There's a few ways to elevate those highlights, like you're saying.
Yeah. Cause we have 5 events a year in the US. And so if you're a paintball fan, you only get to watch 5 weekends a year. It's just not enough, and typically the way things have gone is, you have a tournament, you have all these amazing moves, you have, great storylines throughout the event. And if you're watching in real time, or even, if you go back and watch, that story only lives once, but these stories can live 100 times. They can live 100 times, between each event. If there were, a show that had top 10, like Sports Center, you see a certain catch analyzed by 15 different analysts in 20 different ways over and over and over and over and over and over. And you're just like, man, that was so cool. I cannot wait to watch this player again this week. Like what an epic week this player had. And we could do the same thing. And you guys are just 2 people. So I know you guys are already spread pretty thin. That's welcome to paintball. But yeah, dude, I've been saying this for a long time, Tyler, as well. Having shows that go back and highlight the previous event leading into the next event of all these great moments. And you can't just, like what we've done for a long time in the past, at least when we would do these top 10 moves, it would just be a clip of the webcast with Maddie's commentary, and you're like, I've already seen this exact thing. It doesn't hit the same. But if you have the camera play with different commentary and some illustrations, now it's a new piece of content. It's not the same content. It's a new piece of content, and if you could do that 2 or 3 times with like one play, I mean, man, you have so much content around one play that we already have the footage for. And it's like, this is the stuff that keeps viewers really engage. At least I think, I mean, it's not my area of expertise.
And adding production value to it. There's a couple times in this road to a championship where Tyler, in super slow motion as the music rises, pops over the top and takes someone out in the snake. And it's just like mind blowing. That doesn't look the same on the broadcast, right? You might
it happens fast.
Yeah. You might not
elimination, right?
Awesome it was. It's insane, Tyler. Like literally, like just out of the corner and you see the ball slow motion, like, and they don't even see it coming because the way the snake was laid out, it's like incredible. And that too, like you were saying, Marcello, if someone likes the story and they arrive at paintball for the first time and they see footage like that, they're like, oh, that was cool. Let me see what else is here. Do they have other footage like that? Let me go try to check out one of these events. Wow, this is incredible. And now someone's in,
Yeah, dude, the slow motion stuff, again, sorry, PTG listeners, because you guys have heard this so many times, but I forgot who they were playing. The Patriots were in the Super Bowl. Obviously, it was like 10 years ago. And it was when Edelman had that insane catch. Do you guys remember that?
Against the Atlanta Falcons, yes.
It was against the Falcons, right? Okay. He had that insane catch that in real time, you actually didn't even realize how insane it was. If you're just watching the Super Bowl, you're like, oh, good catch. But when they slowed it down and showed all the different angles, you go, oh my God, that's why this guy's an NFL athlete and I'm not, like that right there was incredible. That moment has stuck out to me to this day, made me such a huge fan of his game. It was like, I was just spectacular, and we have these moments in paintball all the time, but yeah, if you watch that in real time with Tyler's shot, you're like, oh, cool, he shot somebody. But when you see it in slow motion and you see the margin of error, how little movement there was, how little he exposed himself, that first ball, the accuracy, you're like, okay, that's a tough shot. Because one of the number one thing when I talk to people in public and, we get on the paintball subject and they find out I'm a professional player, they're like, well, like what makes you a pro? Like, can't anyone do this? And people like, I bet if we played one-on-one 10 times, I'd beat you one time. Like, you've never played? And they're like, no, never, but I'll shoot you once. And I'm like,
no way.
What do you want to put on it? You will not, and it's, people just don't understand the difficulty, which is another thing that keeps people engaged with stuff. They want to watch people do stuff that they cannot do. There's like something to that. It's like, wow, this is a highly skilled individual.
Tyler, you made two like, I don't want to spoil the doc necessarily, but there's two clutch shots we have. Mike was talking about there.
Insane.
That like I was looking through the broadcast for them, and you miss them, right? Because they happen so fast. But they're like, you break the game open. And I'm sure, Marcello doesn't love hearing the story because he was on the other end of it. And they didn't shoot you. It was just down the snake there. But in tuning in for Road to a Championship, check out that scene, the impact versus damage, that whole, obviously the tension around it and the storylines, but the actual gameplay in that particular match was so high level. Like, you guys locked in.
Yeah.
I'm just getting lucky out there, bro.
It's insane. Not to gas you up too much, Tyler, but like literally like sat back in my chair after watching these. Like insane. It's exactly what Marcello is talking about. And even Marcello too, like when I talk about going to see this live, you see things you don't see on the broadcast. Like in Tampa, I watched you, Marcello, crawl like all the way to the end of the snake in like a deep Sunday match and just like 4-pack everybody. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. I don't know if I played for 10 years, I wouldn't have been able to pull that off. Like insanely high level, like athleticism in the NXL, so hopefully
that's so true, man. Yeah. The NXL, the caliber is unreal right now, what we're working with. Yeah.
That's another great storyline too, or exactly. Cause it's another conversation I have, at the gym, I play a lot of pickup basketball. And so there's a lot of like, really good athletes in there. And we, like there's a young kid, he's 20 years old. He plays college ball here in San Diego. And we're always talking about paintball. He's like become a fan of paintball because of our relationship, but he's always like, like how do you train for paintball? As from a physical aspect. I'm like, to be honest, you're in great shape, but I bet if you were to come play paintball and play like an actual X-ball match, you might not be able to finish the match because it's a different type of endurance that you need. One, you're wearing all this equipment, neoprene stuff. You don't have, great breathability. Two, you're yelling, you're carrying weights basically in your hands and on your back, and you're using almost every single muscle in the body. Like if you're not constantly playing paintball, then you're not in game shape. And you hear that for almost any sport. And we lost Mike again, but he'll be back in here.
He's like,
you hear this as soon as that goes away. He's so panicked.
It's all there.
Plus you get shot a lot is another thing.
Yeah, plus
It's
you get
it's
caught.
like
a cup last
Yeah.
year. Imagine like a big, like handful of rocks being thrown under your head. Like now
Yeah.
get back out there and do it again. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, and like at the top pro level and divisional gets pretty rowdy too. Obviously the lower it's not as action packed as like that top tier pro type of stuff, but yeah, people are getting rocked out there, and it is pretty intense. And you know, I like to think it's almost like acupuncture. You know, we get all these bruises everywhere. It makes the body work harder, and then has this natural healing going on. It's kind of crazy what's going on with paintball, but you really need to be playing a lot of paintball if you're going to be ready to go round after round after round after round after round and be effective, just as effective as I am in that first opening, you know, statement. To be able to do it on the 12th time, the 13th time, the 14th time, just as good. You really have to be playing a lot of paintball.
Yes, sir. And speaking of that, this is probably a good segue into something else I think is a valuable asset that we could instill in our community. You know, you guys are in insane shape, right? It's a dude. There's dudes everywhere around these tournaments, and like you guys got your shirts off. You're all shredded with like bruises all over you. Like the ladies tune into that stuff, right? We had Cabby Borders, our new sideline reporter. Shout out Cabby. It was her first time the last event. I think she did a pretty good job. She's still learning everybody's name and the teams, but she'll be back out at World Cup. But that's one thing. Like you were sitting there, she's like, "There's like all hot dudes around here." Like like which she doesn't care. Like she wouldn't have cared otherwise, I guess. But she walked in and saw Tyler with his shirt off, like talking to Dalton like about a point. And is like, huh, I wonder what's up with that guy over there, or you know, whoever else. I think there was like a video she put out of, sorry, hey, it doesn't. You can hide that for now. We're trying to market the sport here, but yeah, like that's an element of this. Like, it's very social media focused, like that particular part. But you know, if you want the young females to be interested, there's a certain way to showcase, you know, the ability that you put together with your hard work, right? With your strength training and your, you know, like the paintball bodies aren't like they're hidden behind this.
Well, that's actually something that I'm hoping that we can change as we move into the future. I personally think that we've done the uniforms all wrong. I think that we got to get tank tops on the pros, and this is pro only. I'm not talking about everybody else, but for the professional division, I think it needs to be tank tops, and I think you got to have the guns out, and they're going to get welted up, and you're going to be bleeding, and that's going to also add to the entertainment value. Why do you think UFC was so successful, man? I mean, it wasn't just because, obviously they're going in there duking it out, but it gets rowdy. People have skin in the game. Okay, there's real skin in the game, and I think that if we add that element, change up the uniform a little, get the tank tops rolling, I think that could really, because when you slow-mo someone getting shot in the arms, I would like to see like, and also it'll cut down a lot of cheating too, because you don't have all the folds, you don't have so much stuff on your arms. Things get, you know, things happen. So you cut down a little bit of that, and you also add those slow-mos of it rippling off the skin and like, whoa, damn, this is crazy.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
it's easy for me to say. I wouldn't, you know, I don't think I'm playing pro NXL anytime soon. But like, you know, I think we had talked about this a couple times, Tyler.
Yeah,
I think like a jersey adjustment is definitely something that like everyone seems to think about, right?
Yeah, and also let me just add this: the aesthetic. When I see a Kobe jersey walking down the street, or I see a Jordan jersey walking down the street, nobody's wearing a. Well, actually, I do see there's some trendy like BMX style jerseys out there. I see people rocking, and like the culture has adapted to extreme sports jerseys. I see like famous people wearing Fox jerseys. I saw the NFL Alvin wearing the Hostile Kids jersey, rocking that before his game. But if you're able to put us in these jerseys that you can also sell, now we're selling a ton of jerseys, and they're wearing them in the street, and someone's saying, "Yo, who's that? What's who's Impact? Who's Damage? You know, who's Margot? What do we got here? Yeah, that's my favorite paintball player. You got to check this out. These guys are crazy. Go check out Major League Paintball. They got some crazy content on this player and that player." And now we have more people getting driven towards the game as well. Right now, it's kind of hard to wear a long sleeve paintball jersey on the street, you know, but I think that you'll see a lot of paintball jerseys if they're like nice like that popping up.
100%.
People wearing them.
Well, one other random question before we move on from uniforms: why is it all just black pants across the board these days?
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
I was playing, like, you really was like kind of full head to toe, like colors,
Yeah.
and I loved my like red Draxus pants. It was like my favorite piece of gear I ever had. Everyone's wearing like pretty much all black pants now. Why
Yeah,
is
that is interesting. There, because HK Army, we make a ton of different, like the company makes a ton of colors. They have everything. But maybe it's for like the stealthiness, you know, like
maybe?
a
I mean,
ninja out there.
they're
It's
like
little,
tighter now, which makes sense. But like
yeah.
everyone, like it's like almost across the board. There's some accents, but like I feel like
Right.
Paintball Fit's uniform would be a little bit more dynamic if that like cool red, white, and blue didn't just cut off into this like all black pants.
Well, it's like Red Legion. I think Red Legion is the one team that has
Yeah.
the, you know, and I think for a long time, like people made fun of that. It kind of looked noobish, you know, but it actually looks really professional. You know, it's like a full
I think so.
uniform. It's a
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. We could use some tweaks, some modifications to the equipment for sure. And there's something about not being able to see the athlete's face, you know, because they're under a mask, that makes the storytelling and all that so much more important. And if we go into like the live stream, just having a little icon above players, you know, a tiny little icon with their face or something could be so, you know, powerful.
NHL does that, which because that's a comparable one, I would say.
Okay.
They obviously they have like, because the guys are nuts, they have like their nose down.
Yeah.
But they have like a highlighter on, you know, I don't know how much hockey you guys follow, but like Connor McDavid, when he goes on the ice for the Oilers, it's like, oh, we got to know where he's at. So they put an icon on him, or like whoever gets the puck or something. Like that's an interesting element. And obviously that stuff, like we're working within, you know, our means to a degree.
Totally.
Paintball.
Yeah, totally.
There's some of that stuff isn't that difficult to accomplish with the current state of, you know, of filmmaking and live broadcasting. There's a lot of like new, interesting and affordable ways to do that stuff. And and that's right now. Yeah, right now what we're doing is we're doing a good job of covering the game, is less so who's making the plays. Right, you can follow the game a little bit better than you could 2 or 3 years ago.
The show is I mean, we're so lucky. I laugh about this all the time, Marcello. We're like, when we were kids, you had to go, show up, be there to watch paintball games. You want to get better? You want to see what the better players are doing? You better get your ass up and go get to the field early and go watch. Now we have the luxury of watching all these things on our phone, on the TVs, and the show is spectacular. And everyone, we got to also remember, these are the early stages, man. We're figuring it all out. This is all, you know, we're not Major League Baseball. We're not the NFL. We're Major League Paintball, and we're fighting with everything we got to make this the best we possibly can. So you have so many people working their asses off behind the scenes, and you two specifically have been spearheading a lot of development. So hats off to the whole crew and everybody doing everything that they can. But, you know, it's going to be a long time before we have like the world. Did you guys, I mean, of course you guys saw the World Series. That was one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my life. You know, like when we get to those levels and just the type of stuff that they're able to accomplish with these big productions is insane. And I know you guys have the same vision for that. So to see that all coming to life in paintball is spectacular. But I do want to talk about that World Series game, because that was the craziest baseball game I've ever seen in my life. It was insane.
Bananas.
I'm
here in Las Vegas right now, so I was watching down at one of the sports books, just high-fiving strangers at every moment. There's a bunch of Canadians out here, so it was like, you know, USA versus Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, insane. I grew up playing baseball. Mike was more of a lacrosse guy, but yeah, I mean, like you were talking about the jersey recognition, like you know, there's going to be, that's like, you just sold 10 million Ohtani jerseys.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
or
right.
Yamamoto, the guy that won the MVP.
Man.
Unbelievable pitching performance.
Unreal.
Like,
yeah.
Like in that Mookie Betts like turn 2. Like, oh man,
there were so many moments. That was the thing, is like every inning was a moment. And they were one of my favorite ones was in the outfield where the dude was going like underhand to try to catch the ball. And he was like, I was like, he's not going to get it. And then out of nowhere comes, I forget his name, but he clutched it. Yeah, clutched it, man.
Yeah, that was insane. The Pajes catch, because they subbed him in that inning.
That's right. That's right.
I think they subbed him in for defensive purposes.
Yep.
And
hold on, wasn't it Kike Hernandez that was going for the catch below, dude, the whole time. And this is why sports are funny, but like, I don't know baseball players. I don't follow baseball, but that whole game, I was like, on my couch, not nearly as good at baseball as them, not even close, just talking shit about Kike, I'm like, oh my God, here he is messing up another play or almost messing up another play.
How do you swing at that pitch, Kike? What the
dude, I swear I was kind of playing into it. My girlfriend was not too happy, but yeah, I'm like, how do you swing at that? Terrible, get him out of here. But yeah, those are a riveting Game 7 and a riveting series. Like, God, the MLB just must be ecstatic that they're World Series,
sure.
Because you can't like really plan that,
Oh well,
but yeah,
I have a feeling we'll get there. I don't know if to that scale. Baseball's been around for 100 years, right? And I don't know if you guys will still be playing for another 100 years, like Yosh and Ryan. But
I laugh about that.
When I was a kid and I saw in 2005 the ESPN show that they did, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be there one day, and it's gonna be 20 times as big.
Yeah.
And to see it not there right now, it's like we feel some responsibility to help elevate it further. And I think it's worth saying, like, the essence of what we're doing here. Like, we want this to be as big as we dreamed it was when we were kids too. And because it's there, man. You guys are insane athletes. There's so much excitement happening around paintball, and not even so much NXL. Like, there's leagues all over the world that are competing at high levels that if we find a way to create a product that people care about and it grows, that's like the entity that, like, when you say pro paintball, it's this, and who Marcello Margot is, who Tyler Harmon is, just from association. You never watched. Like, that's the world we want to create here.
Well, you guys are doing a great job so far, man, and just really excited to see the continued growth. What do you guys say we play this trailer here?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
Sure. Do you want to set it up for us real quick, Mike?
This is a scene.
I got it.
Marcelo's got it, but this is a scene just lifted from the show.
All right, little world premiere for PTG, and this will be dropping this week as well. And what time and, like, specifically will we have this available?
Tuesday, November 4th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
So 6:30 your time, Ty.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Arizona, we don't play that time change game. We don't play that.
The time change claimed a victim with Tyler this morning. We had this scheduled for 8 a.m. Pacific. And then at like 6, Tyler's like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm running around trying to get stuff done. I'm going to be like 10 minutes late. I'm like, damn, he's out and about early, because I didn't even think of the time change either. And then at 7:05, Tyler's like, hey, I'm ready, guys. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, the time change. Ty,
I'm just glad I was early and not late. Yeah, could have been worse.
All right, here we go.
Let's rock
this in.
Edmonton Impact entered this year's Lone Star Open in Texas with a chip on their shoulder. Dominating the opposition in the first 2 days of competition.
JC's going to launch, though, and he's going to get one. Still untouched. JC hunting for another one. Spins around, gets 2.
Entering the Sunday bracket undefeated. And highly motivated by their quarterfinal match against Tampa Bay Damage. A foe whose roster is deep with former Impact teammates.
Yeah. You know how people play, you know their tendencies, but then they know your tendencies. So who can perform better and who's playing the field better and understanding the moves that need to be made out there and doing it when it counts.
Damage is definitely one of those teams that has people that have come out and produce over and over and over again. But like, so have we.
Team ball, huh? Hey, go. Let's go. Hey, take our one ball. Let's go, boys. And they'll start connecting. Head checks, guys, all day long. We know what we got to do. Play our game.
No excuses. You got everything you need. We're where we need to be. We got them right where we want them.
When we played Tampa, there's guys that used to play with us, and there was a grudge match.
Mouse and Marcello, former teammates of ours, they're always talking a bit of, you got Rainey on our side talking, maybe Tyler, JC.
You'll find it. See the eyes.
Take it, guys. Hold on.
Let's go.
Let's go out there and play perfect paintball. Let's go, baby.
Let's race the it's gonna be gritty, man. Let's go together. Gritty day. Always together. Let's do this. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Family.
Come on!
three. 1, 2, 3. Team, let's go!
Both teams were extremely motivated to win, but we had the momentum, we had the chemistries being built up, and that's where the edge came from for us.
Those are the style of games that you want to see. Titans of the league, big name players that you want to see battle each other.
Let's go, boys.
We are in Texas. We are
Any
at the
on our
fourth
side?
event on the precipice of World Cup.
Two.
Damn.
Well, I'll just say that's an old cut. We're gonna fix Zane's graphic, so it says Zane, not Zach. We got all that stuff
I
dialed.
didn't even notice. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, but if that doesn't get you hyped up to watch some paintball, I don't know. You know, that's production value right there. Outstanding.
Exactly. It's the production value, even just like the audio, the sounds behind the interviews and behind certain things. Like these little details are when you watch, you're just like, this is just so well done. Again, it's like after a song has been mixed, the before and after are completely different, even though there's no change to the actual song itself. Really, it's fine tuning the audio levels and things that just when you watch it, you're having an emotional response. There's a chemical response that you're like, this is really fucking cool. Yeah, bravo, guys. Bravo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give him the clap. We got a round of applause.
I guess all the kids are doing this now. This is the new clap.
That's the clap.
This is the new clap.
I'm trying to stay up as I get closer to 40. Trying to stay.
I think it's just the index finger and thumb.
Just this guy.
Yeah, that's the new clap.
Sure.
Jeez.
The Zoom clap.
Minimalist.
Yep. How you guys feel? I mean, obviously, we're featuring a scene where you guys are going head to head.
So in the same regard that I know in the UFC, there are certain matches where they really want to just knock their teeth in. And, you know, of course, everyone wants to win. But like for me personally, it's sports. I don't hold anything any really differently in my mind when I approach somebody. You know what I mean? There's things that drive me to be great. But everyone's different. Everyone's super unique in how they use that tool to drive them to be great. But what I love the most is that we're adding the entertainment value. You know, we have a story, we have captivating content and driving people to watch. You know, it grabs the viewer. It says, damn, we got a story here. I want to see how this ends. And it makes them watch till the end. It makes them watch and see what happens. And those types of developments are going to be pivotal, absolutely pivotal for the success of our league, the success of our sport, and growing people and getting them to show up at their local paintball park or go to their local paintball store and say, hey, I saw this little docuseries and yeah, it was interesting. I wanted to get involved in the game. Maybe pick up Tipman or whatever, the Geos, whatever they got, and start playing. So it's amazing, guys. Truly.
I appreciate it, sir.
You guys,
shout out to Mike directing this whole thing.
Yeah, Mikey.
Assembling it.
Let's go.
Expertise.
You guys for creating compelling content. A lot of awesome highlights and a lot of passion and enthusiasm from you guys throughout. So
yeah, I mean that storyline it is also a real storyline. It really is, obviously. Like you can't deny it. And I agree with Tyler. Like come a lot of players are different. You said that well, Tyler. For me personally, I have always taken any motivation or grudges with other players or teams into my training, but I try really hard not to bring it to the competition. And it's a really fine line, actually, because if you bring it to the competition, that really can lead you into mistakes. I try to stay hyper focused on like what needs to happen in the game. And so in real time at tournaments, it's why you won't really see me talking a ton of shit at tournaments. But that motivation is there all through the training camp, and that's kind of what I pull from and I try to compartmentalize. Some players, they think about it throughout the entire match, and it does well for them. Some players, they think about it the entire match and it doesn't do well for them. So, I think each athlete is definitely different. And you have to find what works for you and what allows you to get into a certain flow state or a certain state of mind to compete at the highest level. And actually through my career, like there's been many different approaches I've had, and sometimes you get bored of a certain approach, so you need to pull from something else. Sometimes you make things up to yourself of like, this person's not respecting me, so I need to, whatever. And that's, that's just kind of part of it. But
yeah,
totally.
Yeah, and that's another just on that like particular scene. Like there's other like outside of paintball storytelling stuff in the piece, but what I like about that one is it's kind of like it's a big group effort with like everything that paintball and Go Sports like already had that was really good that we kind of just like enhanced, right? Sure. Like a lot of that footage you just saw Arthur and all the guys that they use and have been doing this for a while, and like the broadcast and everything is Maddie and Go Sports and everything that Darren has been doing well. We kind of just came in and tried to elevate and infuse that storytelling.
Yeah.
So just that's what I like about kind of showing that scene too, is it's not like paintball was like broken and needed to be fixed or something. Like there was already so much being done well by the media people involved. And then of course, like by the players, the ingredients were there. We came in and just like threw some secret sauce on it, you know? So,
yeah. A couple of my favorite scenes were when Billy, I don't want to give too much away, but Billy and his family, they're, making a pizza. They're enjoying that moment together. And it's just like, it's wholesome. It's so wholesome. And then you got Zayner absolutely piping it down the fairway, just like crushing it. Let's go, Zane. And then
Zane's a stick, man. I went out on the golf course with the Yakimex, and actually all the boys.
They can ball. They can ball.
All the Yakimex definitely. Like there was room for a fourth, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. And then the scene with Zach where he's like, we're from Alberta, we're Canadian, what's good, like we're Canadian, we're doing this thing, and and he's young, he's just a young man, a little guy talking about how much he loves paintball, and he's doing it with his dad, and God bless Joe and the whole family. They did that together for so long, and they're still doing it to this day. And that story is tremendous. And we have so many amazing athletes and characters in this game. So shout out to you. I know we have a lot of you tuned in and support the show. So let's keep building together, everybody out there, right? Let's keep working together, making this thing powerful as we move into the future for this game that we all love so much.
Well said.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, fellas, I know before we went live, I think Brett, you said you had a few questions for us. If you want to ask them on the show, we can,
Sure.
and then we'll hop into the Discord. We got a couple questions in there for you guys, and then we'll get back to our World Cup prep.
We had one of them. We sort of answered one of them mine already, in talking about some of the marketing around this. But I had a question about, we talked about format briefly when Greeny brought up that point, and I am curious what you guys think of the gameplay style. This is more like a X's and O's type thing, but the gameplay style of the 3-man that we do and how it relates to X-Ball.
Absolutely. I'll take this one first. I think I am a big proponent of us having as many different types of paintball, kind of like there's different types of snowboarding, skateboarding, all these other extreme sports have their different variations. And I think we fall into a similar regard when it comes to the sports landscape of where we're, I was kind of talking with March, I was like, we're probably not going to be the NFL. We're probably not going to be the NBA, but we can be as big as professional snowboarding and BMX and skating. I think that that's a very attainable thing that we could reach someday. And it's just like their crafts are very difficult. I think ours is very difficult as well to master and to be, proficient at. When it comes to format, we have to be very careful that we don't, when we're talking about viewership and having a broadcast and a show and things that we show the world, we want to make sure that they're captivated the whole time and really, following along. I think that you can do that with 5v5. You can do that with 3v3. There might be little tweaks that we have to make to the gameplay in order to make sure that we don't have, 10-minute points, and because that can get kind of monotonous for a viewer. We're like, okay, let's get this going, or we need something to happen here. So we want to be mindful of that. But I think that we also need to lean into those types of things because there is a lot of tension that builds up on those moments, and it's like all this pressure is building on this moment. And we did a great job on the documentary actually of getting it straight into those moments. Even though that first point we played against X Factor, it was like a 10 or 12-minute point. It was really long. But when you watch the docu-series, you guys squeezed it all together so perfectly that it didn't feel like that. And then it got straight, it went into the action and things broke open and the game kept moving. So it was really well done in capturing the essence of what we did, even though when it was live, it was kind of like, this is taking a little bit. But when it was packaged the way that you guys did, it was done masterfully and it flowed really well. So I think that there's ways that we can work around even these ebbs and flows in the game when we encapsulate it and distribute it. But for a live program, if we're talking live sports, if that's what we're talking about, we want to be the best at, then you have to be mindful of the way that the gameplay is so that you don't bore your viewer. And that would be kind of my 2 cents on it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair.
my take on this whole thing is when the 3v3 concept was first pitched, I was a big fan. I thought it would be really exciting to watch. My favorite part of a 5-on-5 game is when it comes down to a 3-on-3 as a player. I think that's when really high level moves get made. So again, I was kind of all in, thought it would be exciting, thought it would be fun, fun to play all of the stuff. And after actually seeing it, participating in it, I don't think it's the way. I think it is kind of superficial, and those big moves, when a 5-on-5 game breaks down to a 3-on-3, it's so much different than breaking out from the start of a game 3-on-3. The high level chess match is much more in play when a 5-on-5 breaks down to a 3-on-3, because it's who recognizes the situation first. Whereas in the 3-on-3 breakout, there's always an open zone. So it's much more gunfighting skills, again, just kind of superficial parts of the game, in my opinion. Whereas 5-on-5, you have these really in-depth game-breaking moves. And I think there's so much more to work with from a commentator perspective and a depth perspective, and highlighting really high IQ plays. And I just think that the 3-on-3 is not the way.
March, you don't think you can create that in the 3-on-3?
I don't, because, again, like if you go back and look at some of the biggest moves that get made, it's usually when it's like a 4-on-3. And so one of the teams, they've got like an advantage and they're able to expend the body and they go through and break something open. Or the team with 3 decides like, we're down a body, let me go through and make a move, and they shoot 2 or 3 bodies. The moves are just so much more high level in 5-on-5 paintball. And, I think the 3-man also incorporates some luck. Like the strategy, at least, is when you break out, you can kind of see if the middle guy's your way or not. And if he's not, you just get to like run to a 50. And so, yeah, it's kind of fast, but it's not that hard. Like you're not doing stuff that's really difficult. You're not like breaking through a really solid, either defense or, gun, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't have the same, it doesn't compel me the same. Like when I'm watching the 3-man, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, you got to the 50, you wrapped and you shot 2 people, but there's no meat to it. There's no meat to it. I equate it to this, a snake player can dive into the snake off the break. And because their shooter shot the other snake runner, that player now can go all the way down the field and wrap and, shoot 3 bodies. And is that really a good move? Or did the guy just is it just kind of lucky that they weren't there and you got the free move? And yeah, you got to still execute and still connect on the shots, but it's not really that good of a move. It's just kind of what you're supposed to do. And the situation presented itself for you. And I think a lot of viewers kind of mistake that. They'll watch snake players like, oh my God, that was insane. It was like, that was actually really easy. It was actually really easy. And so I feel like the 3-on-3 takes the difficulty out of the game. It takes a level of difficulty out of the game. And I've always been on the side of, I think the more difficult, the better. It gives you guys more of a chance to highlight why what we are doing is so difficult. Now I'll sweeten that with this though. I don't think 3-on-3 is like altogether bad. I agree with Tyler. The more formats, the better. I think it, if that offers us the ability to play in certain stadiums or to capture a certain audience, amazing. That's cool. Like it can be useful, but I think more bodies is better. I think you have these game breaking moves that are just more powerful and resonate more. You have just so much more to work with. So yeah, like the ESPN 3-on-3, I thought was brutally bad to watch. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment. The field was too small. It just and I'm talking about from just a gameplay perspective, just a gameplay perspective. The production was amazing. You're watching it and you're seeing it in a stadium. And like, as a fan, I was like, dude, this is cool. So again, I think it was a net win, but I really want us to be cautious about like diving into this 3-on-3 as if that's the future. Cause I think it takes away so much from the game. It also is really not great from a standpoint of, it will shrink all the rosters. So all the pro rosters would shrink, which means there's less opportunities for players. We saw a massive decline. Tyler and myself never would have got the opportunity to go pro as young as we did if it weren't for 15-man rosters, because we were playing full X-ball matches. Nowadays, it's already so much more difficult for up-and-coming players to break into the pro division, because you have, one, the longevity of a pro paintball player is very long, right? You can play for 20 years at a very high level. So you have experience that are just taking up these roster spots. And in the current format, you don't really need more than 6 or 7 guys, 8, 9, like as some, if someone gets hurt or a rotational piece, if someone gets tired, but the games are a lot shorter. So the rosters are smaller, creating less opportunities for players. I don't know if that's a good thing, right? Like, again, I think it's good to have more opportunity for players that are working their way up through the ranks and are like, I have a legitimate chance of going pro, but you're not seeing a lot of new players get picked up, especially by these top teams. Like, it's just not happening. So there's a lot of elements to it. And yeah, I really prefer 5-man. And again, this is coming from a place where I was like all in on the 3-man at first, but now after seeing it, I'm like, I don't know that I love it as much. Yeah.
It's interesting. There's no real, another element of that too, is there's no like 3-man divisional. It just exists in the pros right now. I mean, there's 3-man like beginner, right? But no one's really doing 3-man tournaments.
Well, I think at World Cup there will be. Am I right? There's 3v3s that they opened up for the first time, so that'll be cool to see. And March, I don't think that it needs to replace 5-man, but I think it will hold a valuable space in our landscape as a sport. Just because, for me personally, I love seeing my favorite 3 players play against another top tier 3 players. Like, pick your 3 favorites, put them on the other side, and then me, JC, and Zach are going to go play against them or whatever, or, whatever the lineups are. I think there is something captivating about the personalities being able to be highlighted, like we've been talking about a lot on the show. It is allows for a lot more personability, but I do not think that it should replace 5v5. I have to agree with you that the gameplay is much different, but there also are unique ways we can set up the field in order to give it that aspect a little bit more. Like, for instance, in Florida for the ESPN event, if there would have been a pin, simply just a pin on 2 of them, actually on both sides, to block the immediate cross shot at the opposing player, then you have those players dancing behind the pin off the break and playing that element, and maybe you have 50, 60, 70% more survivability because they go and play that little pin, or they dance behind it and play that element, and now you have way more 3v3s. And then you get much more connection in a 3v3, and you have some more of those high-level types of situations that you're talking about where you have to break things open. But there's unique ways that we can cultivate the field layout that would help create situations that you're talking about as well.
Yeah, of course it can get better and more refined. I guess, the field layout's obviously not an issue at the NXLs, and I feel the same with the 3-man at the NXLs. It just seems like, again, you're getting a lot of like superficial layer moments, where someone just runs to a spot, wins a quick gunfight, maybe shoots another person. It's like, okay, like you didn't have to break through any layers to get there. So I just don't, I just don't love it. And not wanting it to be the main thing, I guess my whole point in all this is, we kind of started the show with this. I don't think it's the format. It's the stories we tell around whatever format we're playing. And so I'm like, whatever we give attention to, that will work. I think, like, if we go all in on 3-man, I think it'll work, with what both of you, Mike, Brett, are doing and Major League Paintball, I think it'll work. If we go all in with a 5-man, I think it'll work. So then it's like, what do I actually think is better, and will offer better stories and moves, and what's better for, paintball as a whole, as far as like limiting roster spots and all that. I think it's 5-man, so there's like all these other things that come into play, and I'm like, let's just be cautious. And, with the 3-man stuff,
Well, if I could be completely honest, I want to play some 10v10. If I could be completely honest,
a 7-man, I'm with you, Ty.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that you put our whole 10 crew against any other 10 crew, and you're gonna have a show. It's gonna be like, whoa. And then who knows? Maybe you go through and get 9 of them or 10 of them, and then you're like, holy shit, he shot the whole entire squad. And that's why I'm saying it's such a difficult thing to tackle in our sport. And I think what you two are doing right now is one of the most monumental additions that we could be doing to our game, is getting people invested, getting them out to their local parks and fields, getting them interested in paintball, just letting them know we exist, because we've been trying to sound this horn for decades that pro paintball is a thing. We're not all out in the woods, and God bless the woods ball players. That's where I started. It's what I love. I love it all. But when you talk to somebody, they all think that we all play in rec ball, and I think that if we can get them all to the rec ball field, maybe have a video showing them some docuseries from Brett and Mike, and they'd be like, oh, damn, this whole thing exists too. And then it opens them up to a whole new world, and the industry's booming. So it's going to take a team effort, and it's not going to be overnight. We're going to be tweaking the game for years to come. The NFL, NBA, they all are still adjusting their game to this very day, this very moment. So it's not something that's going to end tomorrow.
Baseball's changing a rule next year. You can challenge a strike call.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah,
interesting your take on all. I'm curious too, because I'm not playing it. I'm speaking from a player perspective, and to me, like you had in your after winning in the ESPN show, you had mentioned like Savannah Bananas were coming for you is the line you said, which I think is kind of true. Like there is that, like, if we have the MLPB, which is MLB, and we can also have the Savannah Bananas, right?
Yeah.
They elevate each other, I think.
That's right.
Like, not to say that the 3-man is necessarily like a gimmick, right? But it's something different. And the from my opinion of it is the 5-on-5 is still the premier competition mechanism. But
honestly, whatever gets asses in seats, and they're like, we want to watch some of that, we gotta
not
lean.
The format. It's not the format's not what gets asses in seats. I'll die on that hill. It's what these guys are doing. It's a storytelling.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, totally. No, 100%.
Yeah.
People who are participating.
Yeah. All right. Enough of that.
Yeah, that was the only question I had. I didn't know it was gonna cause controversy here, but
no. It is absolutely. And again, we've had this conversation on the show, quite a bit about 3-man and 5-man, and at the end of the day too,
we've talked to him a couple times about it. I've heard those.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, I love and appreciate that the league is continuously trying to do different things.
Absolutely.
And again, like, the ESPN thing was a total net positive for paintball. There was a lot of people throwing a lot of shade on it. It was a total net positive for paintball, period. And all these different things are going to teach us and help us grow. So I'm not, hating on it. I'm just giving my opinion on the formats. I do think like some changes that should absolutely be made. I know Tom was talking about a shot clock thing. So once the 5th player is eliminated from the other team, like maybe a 30-second clock comes on. So you can't just sit there and drain 11 minutes. Like, that's a flaw in our game, right? That's something that could be corrected immediately. I used to push back on the shot clock idea, because it's like, well, you're now telling the other team that all 5 are eliminated. Whereas, like, maybe it's a 1-on-2 and I'm the 1 and I want to hide. I want them to believe that all 5 players are eliminated, so that one of them makes a mistake. I could shoot one, now it's a 1-on-1. But what? Who cares about those moments? To be honest, like, it'll be such a net positive to go in the other direction and create, eliminate that potential 12-minute point where someone's just waiting to hit the buzzer. Also, I don't know if you guys have heard this idea, but changing the scoring a little bit. Like, if you score a point in under 30 seconds, it's worth 2 points, at any point in the match, right? Which I think would kind of entice fast play. Like, you might open up a match like super aggressive. Hey, let's go for a 2-pointer early, we
need some 3-point jumper, or going for 2 after the touchdown.
Right. It also makes it to where, like, no game's really out of reach. It could be 6-1 with 2 minutes left, and it's like, hold on, it's just a couple points away, really.
And it incentivizes all that movement and that action that we've been talking about, right? You want to, and there's even something with the way that the points are scored. I think they were talking about changing as well, or
correct for the tiebreakers instead of it being margin, which this is a great idea for sure. Instead of the tiebreakers for like the wild card and seeding being margin, with your plus minus, it would actually be points that you scored. So if you however many points you scored, which incentivizes people to score more points. You don't want to win a 1-0 game. You want to win a 7-6 game because now you have 7 points scored, you know?
We like points on the media side.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
right.
Totally.
So and we talked with Tom at length about this on the episode that we had recently, just incentivizing different ways that we can incentivize you to make moves, you know, and I love the idea as well with the shot clock. I think that's great. We can't, it's not fair to the people waiting on deck to go up. It's not
it's the
fair
worst when you're waiting on that game.
Yeah.
It just totally destroys the flow. All right, fellas. I know we're approaching an hour and a half here. Let's hop in, do some Discord.
It's been a great one. Let's go.
It has indeed, man. Thank you guys for your time.
Yes.
I got one here from Fab. He wants to know. He goes, "Hey guys, curious your impressions on the current way the broadcast is filmed. My opinion on 3 main areas of improvement are paint shell color. He wants it to be neon yellow.
Yeah.
Media on a new larger backline with telephoto lenses, and get rid of split deck. Can we expect any of these changes in 2026?
Who is this?
His name's Fab. Mark.
Fab.
Mark
Sorry, I
Fab.
thought it was someone. So I could jump in on this quick, but I'll let you comment too, Mike. Sorry to just take over some of this. But so
he's
yeah,
passionate
the way the broadcast is set up, we worked a little bit to improve one element of it, which is called the axis, where all the coverage of paintball in the past, it's, you know, you have to cover every side of the field because you have the Dorito side and the snake side. And rather than having a camera on the Dorito side to shoot live action, because that disorients you, right? So if you're in the snake corner and you cut all the way around to the other team's Dorito corner, for someone who doesn't know where that is and hasn't played the layout, they don't know what's happening. So trying to move along the axis so it's just on one side of the field, the coverage. So some of the Dorito players, you'll get a further away shot of their isolated shots. But that's something that we think is going to elevate the viewership, I guess understanding it a little better. And he'd made a comment about the split deck. I personally think split deck is going to compromise the sport. I think you need individual matches. Like if I this is like, obviously no offense to some of the teams that I'm not as interested in watching, right? Yeah. But that's just what sports is. Like there was a Jaguars Raiders game on yesterday. I could care less who's playing that game. But that's just me. I don't care for those teams. I'd rather watch, the Chiefs Bills game. So I watched that one instead. But like if they're happening at the same time, and it feels like I don't know. I know the reason for it, and I'm not trying to put it down. Like it's
totally, of course, yeah.
The business of paintball, and this is worth saying. The business of paintball of NXL is the whole tournament, right? It's not just the professional division, which obviously we're trying to elevate most of all. But the paintball community at the NXL that's the business. It's all the paint companies and the marker companies. Everybody, that's how they profit. So I'm not trying to put down, and that's how single deck went to split deck, is to make it so that more people can play and that more paint gets shot, all that stuff. But I think personally, as a viewership experience and as an athletic experience, if Edmonton Impact or Tampa Bay Damage is on the fields, that's the game that's on the field. That's how I think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, I went off on that. I
totally agree.
I remember seeing that was an idea, and I thought they were joking. This was like 10 years ago, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna like actually do that." And it's been around forever. I think, and we talked to Jason Trojan, the league commissioner, who's a great dude. Everybody, I'm sure, around pro sports or the pro sport knows Jason. His job is tough in having to make these decisions, and I'm working closely with him. About like how the layouts would be for camera, and how this layout isn't necessarily just for the pros. This is for Division 5 too, right? So we can't necessarily think about it that way, like where it's a professional layout here. This is like the tournament layout, right? So yeah, there's some challenges there. And then last thing that Fab mentioned, just to touch on it, the end line with the photography. They've done that. We've done it a couple times in the past.
Yeah. And
we're trying to instill it, I think, in World Cup or in further events where there's a longer back line.
Yeah.
So longer, I think the only time they did it in the last couple of years is Atlantic City last year.
Yeah.
Where that was the last ESPN show that it was Legion versus Aftershock, where they extended it long. And it does great. Like you can do some great coverage there. It's just, spacing and the venues, what they allow, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
No,
sorry,
it makes sense.
Going over a little bit, but
no,
there's time and budget limitations to everything as well, right? Like it's kind of like
right.
we talked about, like if we came in and we're like, hey, Go Sports, let's just unravel all of this and rebuild it. Like that just wouldn't be like super effective, and I don't think what they're doing is broken. But like, yeah, of course, there's a lot of bells and whistles that you can add. I think if they have a cool cable cam now, which looks really nice and gives you good vantage points. I think if you got the cable cam that goes in every direction, like the NFL has, that would be really effective. There's some ways to do that with a drone or a second drone currently that we've played with a little bit. So bells and whistles, telephoto lenses, like higher end cameras, like there's a lot you could do there once it makes business sense to bring on and invest in like that very expensive equipment. So we're kind of playing with stuff here and there, including like, I think the drone is probably one of the underutilized elements of it currently. You can really get in to a lot of places rather than just having it sit there and just be kind of like the wide that you cut to as a safety net when you need it. Like you can be really dynamic with that. I mean, easier said than done though. The drone operator wears multiple hats. So there's a lot of things you can do that we're trying to like slowly kind of work with those guys on trying to implement, when the budget allows, when the time allows, when the bandwidth allows. And then, second everything Brett said about split deck.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
The good thing is everybody agrees on split deck.
Mm-hmm.
Even the NXL, right? It's just you got to be able to fit a certain amount of games on the pro field in a certain amount of time. That's the only
teams,
reason.
Right? Like, logistically you just got to.
What I've like proposed in the past is Go Sports, Major League Paintball Plus can see, you guys know what games are getting what views, right? So if you are a top 10 team in regards to viewership, not necessarily your standings, which now would incentivize teams to promote these games as well, you have your games on the pro field. If you don't, you only get 1 or 2 games on the pro field, just like all these other sports. They choose their primetime games. They even will sometimes change throughout the season. They're like, well, we thought this was gonna be a primetime game. It is not. So this team is not what we thought they were. They're no longer going to be this last, Sunday night game. I don't see why we can't do that so that the pro field is, really built around the show. But it is tough because you almost have these conflicting forces. What is best for the NXL league as a tournament paintball league is not always what's going to be best for the production of the pro field or professional paintball in general. So, it's difficult. We got to kind of ride the line and balance both, which is understandable. Again, it just is what it is. It's the way we're constructed right now, so you got to work with it.
100%.
I got to show some love for the yellow paint that we had in Florida for the ESPN event. I thought that was amazing adaptation. I think Trosen might have even spearheaded that. So big ups to Trosen on that.
Yeah, that's actually that was the other point that from that question. We obviously think that's a great idea. That was the easiest to see of any
so good
film ever. That like obviously like I don't know if you guys know this, but this is from obviously going back to Patrick Sporer. What he did in Heroes for a Day is he went in and painted in each individual paintball on these frames to make them pop. So if you ever watch that documentary again and look back, like that's why it looks so like you can see what's happening. And that's a big
part
part
of serial killers too, right? Where
exactly. And
well.
So there's like obviously like plenty of ways like visually that we can move things around. But if we can see the paintballs coming out and going towards people, that's going to change people's perspective on your gameplay.
Sure.
A lot of times you're just standing there shooting with like smoke coming out sometimes.
The best shot is when you see a paintball, like the angle of the camera is where you see the paintball exit the barrel, fly, arrive, and break on someone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The more angles we can bleed into that while still showing what's going on in the whole game. Difficult balance.
Yeah, and Verb, shout out to Verb. He's always in the chat as well. If you want to join the chat, go to our website and join our Patreon. We're all in the chat having fun in here. But Verb's always getting insane shots of that paintball leaving the barrel, connecting on players.
I love that thing he does where he like snap zooms into it and then you see he adds like a sound effect.
Yep. It's like pew 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 pew.
Yeah, it's great.
He had a crazy clip from J-Rab in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I think it was one of my favorite moves. It was just a one-on-one. I think it was with
Axel.
Against Axel. Yeah, it was just like a quick snapshot, and you get the full moment of this. Like, J-Rab's a usually pretty reserved guy, but when he shows emotion, it's like
And it's trying to like Verbal's content is like sick. You can just scroll his Instagram like endlessly, and it's one amazing clip after the next. It's just trying to incorporate that into the broadcast, right? Like getting replay angles that can give you that kind of high level stuff and maybe even live angles. Like we had one good angle where the guys in Orlando were poking like through the net, some like the ESPN photographers, and they didn't get an opportunity. The game was moving so fast, the director didn't get an opportunity to cut to those shots very often. But when you did, like it was cool because you could see paint flying. It was in the yellow paint really helped against like the really crisp, clean field, and the bunkers were still clean. It almost looked like glow ball, which is awesome, by the way.
Yes.
I love glow ball. So yeah, that's the challenge. Just taking like what the cinematographers on the field do well and incorporating it with the live broadcast and meshing the million different things you have to consider. It's doable. Just logistics, time, money. That's
right.
Thing.
And we're getting there, man. Yeah, it's all progression. This is all progression, people. We're on our way. We're moving in the right direction. And go check out Verb's account. That's VERBHAL. And he's got great content that you can go watch. I got kind of a fun question here from Rounder. He said, Mike and Brett, why were the doors so cheap in the Ultimate Fighter with Rampage?
That I guess budget limitations, right? I mean, I remember going to that old gym and like it's literally like a piece of cardboard with like a knob.
He ripped it off the damn hinges, dude.
That was great.
I'm not going to say that was a movie set prop, but
yeah.
I don't know if that was an actual Ultimate Fighter, but I imagine a cardboard door is a little bit cheaper than like a real door.
Yeah, that was great. Great content. See, this is what we need. Good content.
Interacted with Rampage a couple times. An intense dude. So that's not like that was an expression of his.
Yeah, it's not out of the wheelhouse of what's reality there. Yeah.
All right, we got Martin Salder. He wants to know, or he says, I would love to see more shows like The Roster, where you could follow a team during a season. You kind of jumbled this, but I think where you could follow a team during a season and in between tournaments to build loyalty for teams and players. Is this something you guys are looking into?
Certainly.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be like the budget and logistical limitations, right? Like following people around with the camera, like documentaries, they're hard and expensive to do, there's a lot of good doc content we're able to capture at the events when everybody's in one place, but to follow a team kind of like over the course of the season, even if you have just like one person doing it, it's a lot of time, a lot of travel, a lot of post. You got to go through all that stuff. So yeah, that'd be awesome. But like, how do we do it within our means currently is kind of the approach, So yeah, we're always thinking about ways to get more cameras on players, teams, and stories outside of the events for sure.
Yeah. Well, question about that. We're talking about living within our means here, right? And working within the budget. Are there plans, or is this something you guys discuss with the league to, monetize what we're doing a little better? Is the goal just to get more subscribers to tune into live tournaments? Are there other ways or avenues that we could be exploring to monetize this? Is it like looking for outside sponsorship? What do you guys think is the best way to improve that ability?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I think, I don't know if like the exact formula is figured out right now with paintball. And that's something we've been kind of investigating on our own. Like I work on the advertising side for over a decade myself. So leaning into some of that experience. I think the way to monetize everything, right? How we're approaching this is to elevate the professionalism of what we have to share on the media side. And that's essentially, that was like step one, right? And that's what we're currently at like the end of step one here, with Road to a Championship being a big part of that. And becoming something that's marketable. We talked about that earlier. Raising our marketability around the sport, it becomes easier to monetize our content and our experience there, right? Because like obviously there's places that would take paintball outside of having Go Sports be the location, and that is the ultimate monetization for everybody, right? If we can get on a consistent programming on a recognizable and easy to access streaming service or television program, that's the ultimate goal of monetization for everybody. The sponsors grow. We bring in other interested parties like sports drinks or non-paintball athletic brands like Nike, Adidas, whoever outside, like people with money to spend, basically, that could put that towards our products and monetize it for obviously, like this is mostly for you guys. Like the players need to be the ones at a certain point where there's big salaries. So like I need to treat this person with respect, or we need to I guess treat them for how much they actually are worth.
Yeah.
Right? And you're the ones putting it out there. I hope that answers some of that. But
yeah, and just to expand on it briefly, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to monetize media, right? There's a lot of different media businesses, and sports is one where typically the most lucrative ways to monetize your media is in like the live product, right? The UFC just did a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount for all of their live fights. Like the NFL has a lot of TV and streaming rights deals for their live games. And then across that, you sell sponsorship. There's a lot of ways to monetize media that we talk with the league about. First and foremost, though, again, we kind of just jumped into this. Improve the product, right? Make the game as good as possible. Make all of like the content around the game as good as possible, and that's what's going to attract people to watch it and attract people to sponsor it.
Absolutely.
Nice. Love it, guys.
Well, I know Brett, I know you got a mission of a drive that you're about to take. You're driving to the West Coast, right? From Vegas out there.
Yeah, you got about a 4-hour drive back to LA.
Yeah. And
that's not too bad. Stop at Alien Jerky.
Yeah.
That's in Baker, I believe,
places,
right?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bummer. They've kind of expanded and gotten a little too big for their britches, I think. I see them even in like 7-Eleven down here, and I'm like, oh, it's not the same. But that spot used to be the spot. Coming back from Vegas, you got to stop and load up on the Alien Jerky.
Yeah, it's better if it's like a commodity, if
totally
you just can get it there. I mean, I'll definitely stop. That's usually like the pit stop to get gas and everything at last chance.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. Well, before we let you guys go, on behalf of both of us sitting here and everybody in the paintball community, thank you for all the hard work that you guys have invested in time and effort into making sure that we can keep this thing moving in the right direction, guys. So hats off once again to you guys. And we'll be seeing everybody soon here in Florida for World Cup. Be on the lookout for the new docuseries that's going to be dropping, The Road to a Championship. And make sure we show out and share that. Get it out there and share the paintball story, guys. And gals, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having us for real. Like, I know we've mentioned at the beginning, but you guys have been big advocates for us and become homies through all this. So
yes, sir.
Appreciate the conversation.
Dude, right back at you, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, again, just to echo what Tyler said, please, everybody, share and support this stuff. This makes a huge difference. We have a massive community, and if everybody just shares to their circle, it could pay dividends. So be on the lookout. Yeah, Tuesday, November 4th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, Road to a Championship. You guys do not want to miss it. Mike, Brett, any last words or anywhere for people to keep up with you guys or pages you want the listeners to follow?
You guys said it all. That's going to air on Major League Paintball's YouTube channel, by the way. So check it out there. And like you said, just share and also try to get people to come to these events. That's going to be a difference maker, I think. Like the live NXL event from the stands of the VIP is awesome. Share that as well when you can.
I'm already getting chills thinking about World Cup. It's going to be crazy out there. We can't wait to see everybody soon in Florida. And yeah, let's go. Let's share the paintball story. Let's have some fun. And we'll see everybody soon on the next episode.
All right, everybody. Peace.
All right. Peace.
See you guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we'll see you in there.